interacting with, their parents, their friends, the people down the pub, down the bar, or whatever, people at work. And thus they hold the prison walls up, even though in private they think their thoughts and have their perceptions. In their experienced expression of life in the public arena, they hold the prison walls up, because that is their protection mechanism from what they fear of ridicule and condemnation for being who they really want to be and expressing what they really want to express. And this is the case with vast numbers of people in the world. And it's something that we seriously need to address in ourselves individually and collectively, because while we go on fearing what other people think of what we are not living our lives, we're not living our truth, we're living someone else's version of what our life and what our truth should be. And therefore
which isn't living.
Is one of the that's one of the greatest prisons, if not the greatest prison that people live in, and the one which holds us in servitude to the control system and keeps the prison walls up more than anyone else. Now, the reason that I've just been I'm in an hour and a bit there and what have you while I was doing that is that I was going onto my website and finding a story that was posted a few days ago, and the headline is "Regrets of the Dying," and it's with someone who has, looked after dying people in very large numbers in their life, and what they've done is compile the top 5 things that people most regret about their lives when they are about to die, in the process of dying. This is number 1 in the words of the person. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. And the person says this was the most common regret of all. When people realize that their life is almost over and look back clearly on it, it is easy to see how many dreams have gone unfulfilled. Most people had not honored even a half of their dreams and had to die knowing that it was due to choices they had made or not made. It is very important to try to honor at least some of your dreams along the way. From the moment that you lose your health, it's too late. Health brings a freedom very few realize until they no longer have it. And then number 3 in this list of 5 is, I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. Many people suppressed their feelings, the person says, in order to keep peace with others. As a result, they settled for a mediocre existence and never became who they were truly capable of becoming. Many developed illnesses relating to the bitterness and resentment they carried as a result. Exactly, I know that's true from, my friend Mike Lambert, who is a brilliant healer who's experienced this cause and effect that was talked about there very, very often. We cannot, this person says, control the reactions of others. However, although people may initially react when you change the way you are speaking honestly, in the end it raises the relationship to a whole new and healthier level. Either that or it releases the unhealthy relationship from your life. Either way you win. And this is why I say, if those people whose reaction to you expressing your true self you fear, and thus suppress your true self to not upset or make react, if they cannot respect your right to be who you truly are, then what the heck are you concerned about in terms of their reaction?
Right.
Why do you want the person in your life if they cannot respect your right to be you? And they're insisting that you must be their version of what they think you should be. I don't care if it's parents, I don't care if it's people at work, down the pub, whatever. It doesn't matter what people think about you. It matters at what level of the real you are experiencing and expressing. because you have a right to be you, just as they have a right to be them.
And
they do not have a right, unless you concede it, for you to be what they believe you should be. These are the prisons. This is why I've said, sorry mate, this is what I've said over the years, humanity has out-sheep the sheep. At least the sheep need a bloody sheepdog to keep them in line. We keep each other in line through this process of insisting that others are the person that people think they should be, rather than respecting their right to be who they really are.
And we've gone full circle back to initiation, because that's what this is. The initiation is into the fearlessness and the awakening, which is a fearlessness to be more loving, to be ecstatic, to be present. And, what a gift and a great sharing this has been, because, first of all, it went by in a second. We may have sat for an hour and a half, and it went by in a millisecond. And that's what timelessness is. There is no time, and that's because you love where you are, and you share that with us. David, what a treat.
Well, that's interesting. That's interesting. Just very quickly.
Wait, David, no, that's okay. With you, there's never anything that's very quickly, because we've just opened a new encyclopedia of dimensionality. When you say that, I know you and I could talk for 3 hours, and then that's just the warm-up. I know that.
Time, our perception of time is one of the greatest forms of human suppression.
Yes.
Because
or the entrapment in it. Because time is a good thing, because it keeps people from having their thoughts manifest instantly, and you don't want everybody thinking that everything they think is going to happen as soon as they think it. So time's our protection.
No,
for people who...
So time takes thoughts, events, happening in the now, and puts them in a sequence. That's why, we can make that sequence move quickly. Cool, time's flown. Or we can make that sequence move slowly. Oh my goodness, time's dragging today.
Or in love, not at all.
But the time is a big thing, and I go into that in Remember Who You Are, and where this process of time manipulation comes from. But one of a final point is you mentioned there about coming into fearlessness.
Yes.
And there's another way of putting it, which is coming out of fearfulness. And what happens when you awaken, open your mind, and you move into other levels, other points of attention, in higher levels of your infinite self, you're moving out of influence of the mind-body computer. Therefore, you're moving out of the influence of the software programs running through it. And one of the key aspects of that program is fear. It's getting people in states of fear, which again comes from the body program overwhelmingly. I mean, people say, oh, you have to be fearful because it keeps you alive. No, you don't have to be frightened to stay alive. You have to be aware. When you stand on the side of a highway, you don't have to be fearful of being hit by a car so that you cross when no cars are coming. You just have to be aware of the potential of the situation, and through awareness only cross when there's no cars coming. You don't have to. We don't need. This is a myth. Oh, we need fear, or we wouldn't stay alive. No, we don't. We need awareness. Fear is a prison state, and thus when we expand our point of attention out of the body-computer software program, which is full of programs of fear, then we move out of fearfulness into a state of fearlessness, because the program of fear is not being fed in a way that's influencing our sense of reality 24/7.
Well, I'll tell you right away how to get out of the fear effortlessly, is that when you're centered in your solar plexus, breathing deeply, you don't fear that's empowerment. Because when people are fearful, they choke up, they breathe shallowly, they're in a state of resistance, they're in a state of the enemy is out there. And if you ever play a sport or ski downhill, the fear isn't in the mountain. The fear is only your resistance to the mountain, or your resistance against the opponent who appears to be outside of you. In other words, we can only defeat ourselves.